Greetings, Thokozani tribe. It is Wednesday, and let's call it Wisdom Wednesday today. It's so interesting when I go live and I see the excitement and the energy that the tribe members would have, knowing that it is time for us to immerse ourselves in another space of healing, another space of teaching, another space of enlightenment, another space of unlearning and relearning. So tonight we are going to be doing a Q&A, but I want our Q&A to focus on the power of rituals. So the questions that one will be asking me, or if you have, is talking about the power of performing rituals, because sometimes when we do certain things and we don't understand their importance or their significance, we then tend not to sign up for them. One of my work or intentions or aspiration, I guess, as Isangoma, is to help our people understand some of the rituals we do or that get performed, so you know what you are signing yourself up for. People would be speaking about fanelukeza matunza mnyama, but what is that and how is that gonna help, right? Unestrito, you need a cleansing. Why do we have to perform that? Or you need to get into, you know, a particular process or a treatment. Why is that? I thought putting ngiqedile, but I guess, yeah, the nose has its thing. So I want to open the conversation as a framing of tonight's teaching by one of my favorite spiritual teachers and healers. I have not met him personally, but I've met him through his written material. Maldo Mesome, the elder. He is one of the few people who took African spiritual healing to the West, and his intention was so that the West can connect to understanding the importance of remaining connected to ancestry in these times that we're living in. So he got a message from his ancestors to say, you have to spread the gospel and you have to let our children know in the diaspora why it's important for you to connect to your ancestors. And we always just think ancestors are unique to a particular tribe, a particular clan, or a particular race. But actually, we all have ancestors. So for those who might be still baffled or conflicted or confused about ancestors, which for you us in South Africa, the Nguni term would use for ancestor would be amadlozi, and amadlozi is a generic term that we have used, but when you go ujula ezulwini, actually amadlozi, it's a type of an ancestor, because there's different kinds of ancestors. Kuthiwa abantu abangasekho, because abasekho abantu, because ukuba umuntu basically means that you are of the flesh as well as the spirit and other things that comprises of you, right? So basically agasekho, it means they have departed this world as a physical entity and they're now spirit. And we call upon the spirit of our ancestors. We connect and we communicate with them because we understand that they are now one with Creator. Is it my volume? Somebody's asking me to up my volume a bit. My volume is up, so I don't know, and I don't have my mic on me because this the way I've positioned the iPad is not on the microphone. So Umakanya says he can't hear. Can somebody else let me know so I'm not continuing and people are not hearing? Okay, volume is good. Okay. So that's how we describe ancestor, abandabanga seko, but their spirit. And then there is idlozi, and I've said this before, but I'm gonna reiterate it for clarity, right? Idlozi, which we've now used it to generalize the term yabandabanga seko, is actually a living spirit that does not have a body, but yet has fulfillments or purposes to fulfill, and then it then goes and possesses a body of the living, to then help it, manifest, realize that which is needing to realize, and gutiwa ethos, because it's a living spirit that is still amongst us. All the spirit of the ancestors, all ancestral spirits are living, but idlozi is the one that has possessed ungenwe idlozi. And a lot of people okuthiwa bangenwe idlozi is because there is some sort of ritual or processes that one needs to undertake to help lelo dlozi, because it not being helped creates a discourse, it creates a destruction, it creates havoc, it creates a disease in the body that which idlozi has possessed. So when we speak about rituals are really about helping and amending and fixing and making well that which is not well at spirit level. So I'm gonna read what Maldome Some says. It says, the focus here is not on ritual itself, but on opening up something in hearts and spirits that has been locked away so long that individuals can barely remember the source. Therefore, ritual is called for because our soul communicates things to us that the body translates as a need or want or absence. Ritual is called for because our body communicates, and translates a need or a want or an absence. That's what a ritual is about. It's a soul, it's about a soul communicating to the body that it needs something to be done. And I don't want to go in the definitions of what is the difference between spirit and soul, because some people say we are body, mind, and soul, and some people say we are body and spirit. I have not yet gotten to a deeper understanding of distinguishing those two. But what I also understand is that actually the soul does get attached somewhat to the personality, whereas spirit is always essence and it's pure. But I'm not gonna be having a conversation about that, and I wouldn't like to dig deep and teach on something that me myself I'm not clear about. So the conversation or the teaching, I like to call it conversation because I'm not just teaching, I'm engaging you in your questions around the rituals. We do not prioritize rituals as something that is important for our optimal functioning, for health, for well-being, for sanity, you know. So we do not prioritize those things, but we actually are ritualistic in nature. So when you wake up every morning and the things you do first thing in the morning before you get out of bed, it's a ritual. If you set your alarm off and the first thing you do is put the alarm off, that's a ritual, because the body communicates that there's a ring of something and then says it's time for you to get up. Queen, I've explained Kobomo so many times, but I'll do it again. Like, yeah. Okay. So I'm sneezing. It feels like my nose is blocked. I don't have sinuses. You pay me sniff because sometimes it does that. It congests it up, and then you just have these random sneezes that then releases the mucus that's there. But I'm not talking about snuff. We're talking about rituals. So what are your questions that you have about rituals? What are the things that you're trying to understand about rituals that either you've been asked to perform or you have performed before and you still are prepared, are confused about them, no, it's okay, Queen. You don't need to apologize. We also understand that every time we come onto the teachings, we have different and new people coming in. So it's just that I don't remember where the stream is, but I will save this ritual video on my YouTube channel and upload it along. Yeah, I'll upload it on YouTube and I will title what are the subtopics that are covered under rituals. Now it feels like something went into my eye. Okay. Okay, so questions. Let's go to the questions. It's a Q&A on rituals. Is there a ritual that needs to be performed before umntwana azwale ambethe goes to twasa, especially if the sec remained in the hospital and only finding after years? Well, remember initiation process, which is ukutwasa, which is rebirthing. So part of the things that get performed epehlweni are the things that you might have not yet had performed that were supposed to be performed for you in your upbringing or in you growing up. So there is certain processes that get performed and each initiation process is different. Hence I say to you, it is quite important and imperative that you are led to your gomela or your teacher, because that teacher whom the ancestors have chosen knows that they will perform their necessary rituals or processes to really help you align with them so that there is synergy and flow and you are not stuck. Because you go a pitching because you are stuck. You're going a pitching because things are falling apart. You're going a pitching because you are sick, right? But ingulo, is close. Tiwa ingulo yako. And ingulo, it's different for different people. We all experience different, what we call ancestral calling symptoms. And when you are taken there, certain things ephehlweni like ukwenzelwa isiko loku zala umbete might be performed. So when we perform certain rituals, it's also a reenactment of what would have been done if you were born at the time in which a ritual was performed, because that ritual would have been performed at your birth or when you came home. Because also remember, with our ancestors, women didn't go to hospital. They gave birth at home with the help of midwives and specialists who knew how to deliver healthy babies, right? So one of the things that happens when you do a reenactment of a birthing process of umntwana ozelwe ambete, meaning ukuzalwa imbete, is you are born with your, you with your I'm forgetting the English word now. I think Goko has written it here. With your sec, but there's a word, and the word before it goes into the sec. You are born with it, covering you up. And because that's rare, so we know that that's an indication, Guti, you're a unique, special, and gifted child. So yes, your placenta, yes, but then it's covering you, so there would be a process or a ritual at birth that will make you then align with that. And remember, yes, it's actually, I mean, not tonic sec, yeah, I think, I don't know how to pronounce it, it's a medical term, but the sec that you are born with. Because our ancestors never also got rid of it, because that was medicine. Because remember, the sec, the placenta is what keeps you alive in your mother's womb. It's what gives you nutrition. It gives you all the necessary foods you need to be fully developed as an embryo, into a fetus, into a human, a full baby. So they would take that and dry it, pound it, it becomes medicine. and it's also what has it keeps you connected to mother. So if a child would be sick, they would then take that dried powdered sack, and then either you'd ingest it or you'd bath with it, depending on the aliment that would be presented. But because we lost that knowledge, for my children, even the fourth one, the two other ones were born when I was a sangoma, but I didn't even know about the importance of placenta yakho, would actually just keep it, dry it. I didn't know that because I wasn't taught that epiphleni, and I didn't come from a family where we understood the power of the placenta, because they use it a lot in medicine when you don't take it, and that's why now you have to sign something if you want to keep it, and you have to also inform the hospital what you want to do with your placenta. You are given the right to keep it. So for those who are pregnant, keep it. Ask for it. Of course, it's a placenta. It's bloody. It's not thing, but you have to dry it very nicely, and you can even ask how you get it dried, and then pound it. That's gonna be medicine. So remember, to zelwe umbete, it means you are born lucky, right, or blessed, because not everyone gets born with their sac in them. So there would be a ritual. So nosicelo, what is important is you then have to ask the one who was able to see that uzelwe umbete, and ask them, Guti, is that a ritual I would need to do before ngingene ephehlweni, or can it be done while I'm there, or will it need to be done afterwards? Because njengoba ngisho ukuthi initiation processes are different, and certain initiation processes, they perform rituals that you have not otherwise could have had, because of the loss of our traditional practices as we became modern, as we got colonized, as religion happened. Yeah. Yes. You see, Lolo Dikobe says, yes, I did, and it required an affidavit. So, yeah. What is the ritual when there's been a death at your in-laws? As a married woman with kids, different uh, ethnical groups do different things. Well, it also depends who is the deceased, right? Who is the deceased? Is it a relative of your husband? Is it a mother, a parent? Is it a sibling? Because then there are different requirements for one as a daughter-in-law to honor and perform, because you are not only seen as an in-law, but you are seen as part of the family. I keep on getting these receipts that I do not know what is it that I'm buying, but because I've got my kids on family sharing, it might be that somebody's buying something. Oh, I see. It's the e-signature app, and that's important. I need that. Okay, cool. So it depends. One of the things is that if it's an immediate family member, Moktua Bayazila, so they go into a process of mourning, it might be a requirement for you to, um, you know, be part of the mourning rituals that will be performed by the family, part of the cleansing that would be required. If it's a parent of your partner, I know that one of the requirements is uhlale matrasin, when there is a death. So that's what I'm saying. There are no standards of saying these are the basic requirements, because some people don't even perform rituals at death. Some people don't even do anything. So I can't say to you, because you will go and say, Koko Dineo said, this is the ritual that I need. You need to ask them. Then there is this person who's died, but it can be a relative. Relatives are like, your mother-in-law's brother, but it's mostly with the immediate and the siblings, where there might be some requirements that you need to perform. But I know that when there's a family cleansing after the funeral, then everyone who's part of that family will be required to participate in it. I hope, Brownish, I have responded to your question. Okay, Mukwena says, when you accept your ancestors and your gift, does the ritual have to be conducted by your trainer, or can I carry it with my family? Well, it depends at what stage of your process you are in, right? So if you've just found out you have a gift, then some of the things might be performed by the Sangoma itself, and some of them might need to be performed, and it depends on the type of ritual that is required. So there's one ritual that we do which we call Ukshweleza, right? It's a pleading and an acknowledgement of the faults and the flaws and the mistakes that the people of the flesh have done to disregard ancestors, right? So happens, when that happens, then Isangoma has to be your intermediary or your interceder, because you have disregarded people. So you need somebody who can help facilitate that before you can even connect and communicate with them. So I hope that makes sense. But for example, if you have to go to training, you have to go home and allow for your family to perform a ritual called umpahlo, to announce and inform your ancestors that you are going away for a particular period of time to go hit your calling. So that will be something that will be done by the family. So it depends. So if it's ikobongo, somebody asked about ikobongo ritual, some people will give you the medicine to go and give you the instructions to administer and facilitate it by yourself. I don't do it. And these are my reasons. Is because there are codes in which one has to follow. There's a particular discipline that one needs to be able to follow for them to actually do ikobongo. There is a diet one needs to adhere to. But what is very important for me is that when you do ikobongo, it's a sign that you are gifted and anything can be activated. So for example, lingavugidlozi. So what are you gonna do at home with people who have no idea what's happening? You might be stranded, majority of the time with a man to come for kobongo, they start trancing or evoking the ancestral spirits that are coming with the gift. So you need somebody who can be able to attend to that, or you might experience certain physical elements that you didn't have before. And when you're at home, you might get scared and you might be like, wow, this is not working. No, I'm not doing this. Or this is crazy. This is scary. You know what's going on. So when you are an inpatient and the Gobongo is done, you have people there who are also going to come and hold space for you. But I'm sure different strokes for different folks, because basically it ritual and a ritual, it's a series of activities. When you do a cleansing and we say we're going to perform a ritual to remove darkness for you, it means it's a series of activities. But when we say we're going to just gaba, that's not a ritual. A ritual is a series of things that are supposed to be done to meet a particular outcome. Is that helpful? It's a series of things that need to be done to achieve a particular outcome or achieve a particular goal, and some rituals are once off. So, what is one that's common? The ritual of Ugupahla. It's not a once off thing. It is done so we can be connected, communicate, and be one in the presence of our ancestors for the purposes of whatever that it is we are asking, seeking, needing from the ancestors. So ukupahla, you don't pahla once a year, but when you do umsebenzi, it's thankful you do it once a year. But even with that once a year, because you do it yearly, then it has become a ritual of thanksgiving. Okay. Okay. The next question is, Togoza Koko, is there a ritual that needs to be performed when a family member house is sold or occupied by new people that aren't family? If yes, must we fetch the ancestor from the house, or can we perform a ritual to invite them to the new home? Okay, so if you have umsamo, right? Meaning a shrine, a sacred space where you go talk, communicate, and connect with your ancestors. Then there has to be a ritual that gets performed to inform them. There has to be a process. And why is it a ritual? Is because you inform them that bokoko na bomkhulu sesithengiswe is umuzi sesizohamba. And when you move, you do something similar. And a ritual, like I said, it's a series and an activity of things. There'll probably have to be an offering of a drink and a animal to be slaughtered, depending on what is being picked up and depending who is the one who occupies that household. A lot of times when somebody is a family man or a family woman, there has to be an animal that accompanies it, at least a chicken, but most probably a goat or a sheep. And people need to understand a cow, the symbolism of a cow in ritual ceremonies. A cow does not speak to the ancestor. The goat or the sheep does. And I still question the sheep part because when we infuse African culture with religion, some of us connected with the ancestors through the sheep, because a lot of the rituals in the Bible, they performed sheep. But imvi tulile, I memes, whereas a goat makes a sign, and in Xhosa moxhela islwani, the sound itself, it's an indication that which that you are performing is being received and accepted. But esizulwini, it's not necessarily so. Even ebungomeni besinguni nesindawo, it is not just about sound, it is about more than sound that it makes, right? So, and then there would have to be umboti and other things depending on what the things that your ancestors like. If they like amakeke, so it becomes a ritual wompahlo. And yes, it's very important, because if you can't leave your ancestors there and go and ask them to bless the new home, because it will be the announcement of the house bigger, it would also be ubonga womuzo musha, thanksgiving, giving thanks to the ancestors. It will also be uqinisa umuzi, protecting the space. So doing a protection, protecting yourself against any energies that are not coming to serve the household, that are coming to serve the new home, whether that's abatagati, imimoye mibi, igebengwa, imilingo, whatever it is that will not be serving but be taking away from the life, from the peace, from the safety of that house. So you would indeed have to do it. If you never had umsamo and you didn't know this, then what? Right? Then go where there is umsamo wasekaya, where you guys do. And I know a lot of people, especially the Batswana, the Bedis, who have lost that, they have to have umsamo, which mostly for the people, the Basutus, it would be an outside space by a particular tree where we would go and communicate with ancestors. You go there, and if you have not done it before, to even go there, then go and consult to check what is happening in your ancestral world. What is the system looking like? So when you are trying to do something, you are also not activating that which you are not inviting, because sometimes we take these teachings and we think we can easily then apply it, and you apply it utio, but Coco, I did that, and the next thing my house was under attack. Is because you did it for the very first time, and there was supposed to be something else prior to what I'm explaining to you right now. That's why it's called ritual, because it's a series of things. It's a series of activities. That's why it's not just an act, it's not just a ceremony. There are things that might have to take place before ceremony, because ceremony is event, but ritual is not. Please let me know if this is making sense and this is something that is very helpful. Okay, another question is, Togoza Koko, is ukuphakamisa isithunywa the same as ukungena ephehlweni? No, uyophakamiselwa isithunywa. I don't know what they said to you, and I'm very hesitant in responding to certain things in regard to initiation processes, because how we explain or we label or we term certain rituals might mean different things depending on the type of trainer or healer that you are, because I might be giving you this information, then you go there and say that's not what Kokodino said. Certain things are specific to the type of initiation process that you need to be undertaking. So asking me this question might be much more of a disadvantage than a gift to you. It's best to ask whomever that said final to to. It's the same thing when somebody says, Gogo, I have cancer. Is it better to actually go for radiation or chemo or change my diet? I don't know what type of cancer you have. I don't know what stage it is at. I don't know. I don't know. So similar, Sitedi, I don't know what you mean, because if you have to go ephehlweni and vanol phakamise isithunywa, I don't know why that was said, in relation within what context. So I will be advising you out of context and it's not going to be saving you. Yes, the stream will be saved on my YouTube. Unfortunately, I won't save it here. I will save it and upload it on the YouTube, because the nice thing about YouTube saving these teachings is that even people who don't have Instagram can watch them. But some of them I will save them on my Instagram, like the one I'm gonna have tomorrow with Koko Tumisang. People have said they want part 2 of healing childhood trauma. And we're gonna speak about the ACEs. Don't ask me what it is today. We're gonna get into it tomorrow. Let's continue with the questions. Okay, this, I don't know how, Lee, this relates to the question at hand, or the the theme at hand, So can you please focus on the topic at hand? But I'll respond, Lee. Can you have a calling whereas at home there's no one who's a sangoma? Of course. We know that historically our own ancestors ran away from it. Go and Google the Witchcraft Suppression Act and see that is one of the reasons people left or shied away or moved away from the gift itself. But also it could have been when people were given the powers of healing, they used that gift to destroy and destruct. So the family chose not to engage with it. Hence, it is important when you are told you are gifted, there has to be rituals you perform before you hit the calling. You can't be told today you are gifted and then next week when I saw you are twice. No way. If it's new to you, even though you might have a suspicion and some sort of signs because you're watching these teachings, you're listening to a variety of teachers, but it is very important that you do not move from 0 to 100 when it comes to this thing, because you see certain people go through initiation and things move from better to worse because they went before time. It wasn't lousy timing. They went out of desperation. They went out of fear. Do not embrace a gift that scares you, that you feel like you have no choice, that the only way things can work out for you is by doing this thing. I don't believe that's a gift. A gift should not come with conditions. Go ephehlweni because you understand why you have to go and how is that going to aid and be of help with the predicaments and the challenges you are experiencing. Go it because it feels important for you to do it. Don't go at it because you are scared things are gonna be deadly for you. They would be, because pehle is about alignment, but it shouldn't be like I'm told today, Koko monga ngeni manje uzoshona bayophela abantu bakini. That might be true. Yet at the same time, the ancestors are not going to kill you for not knowing. Now you know, then you do better, right? That's what I believe. Then you're like, what can I do? And I encourage people who are new to it to say, qala with small steps to really truly see for yourself. Just a quick personal story. When I moved out of religion as a charismatic Christian, and I was told lots of things about ancestors, including the gift, the first thing I did, and that was required for me, and which is quite fundamental and a foundation in forming, right? My processes was a ritual of imbelego, ukwenzela imbelego, to be connected and rooted to my ancestors. And after that, one thing that came out that was a manifestation to show that as an African child, the importance of being rooted and connected does bring blessings is that my relationship started to become stable. I remember the first thing I did, because one of the reasons that led me there is because I had an unexplainable miscarriage, right? And they said, how do you carry a life and how do your ancestors keep this life safe in your womb, whereas they don't know you? So how are they going to know that which you are carrying? And how is that what you are carrying going to be blessed, protected, and safeguarded? I'll be one. They know of you, but they don't know about you because Imbelego was not done. And I didn't believe in that, but my dad, I trusted Utubabu Zoyenza, and my dad did it. And a month later, I mean, of course, because it was a ritual, it was a series of activities, including being cleansed. Right after my dad did it, I remember no, it's before. So when we were in conversation about my dad needing to do that, I did a cleansing ritual for the miscarriage, because I cleansed, I received his imbiza and the treatments that needed to follow up. I followed those things up. I conceived to Spusiso. When I conceived to Spusiso, in the midst of my madness, because I was at the peak of my lozi madness of Inguloyami, I still got a marriage proposal. And from then on, I was able to be in a stable relationship. Prior to Imbelego, I could not keep relationships. Not at all. And it wasn't necessarily because of the gift, it was also because I am not rooted. So when Isvungu Vungu comes in the relationship, I go this way and I go that way, right? So some other people, it might be other things, but that's my story, and I'm not saying that's your story. Celine, we're not doing dreams, we're doing rituals. Can we respect the topic? So that's what it is. So it is very important for one to understand, Ogut, you don't just move from 0 to 100. So those processes or the series of rituals that I performed made and cultivated some faith in the world of my ancestors. And none of the people in my family knew Isangoma on my maternal side, and I was raised by my maternal side. So when I went through Ingulo or calling symptoms, my family thought I was erratic, I was irrational, I was mad, I was crazy. That's why they took me to a mental institution, because they had no point of reference. And my dad was not around at the time, but also when he came into my life, because I only got to form a proper relationship with my dad around the age of 18, he could tell that there was some sort of a gift when I came back. The story is, I came for a visit over the weekend from a hospital, because I went to Tara Mental Institute, the Mental Institute, Tara Hospital. So I would be given weekends to go spend with the family. I went and spent the weekend with the family, and I had an episode of Ingulo yomuntu ohlushwa umndao. That's how I understand it now. My neck twisted. So my neck twisted is like as if I was becoming paralyzed, but I couldn't bring myself back into shape. I cried. Everybody was hysterical. We prayed because I was a born again Christian. I called my pastor, and when that didn't work, I asked for all the different churches to come, but nothing worked. It couldn't snap back into shape. And when my dad came, because my dad was called by my mother to say, we've tried everything. I think I was in it for a good couple of 2, 3, 4, about 4 hours, because it's only after midnight where I came back and I was back into myself. And I remember in that state, I would see dead people. I would see dead people. And I didn't understand. It scared me. And I said, they're wearing black. And my conditioning as a Christian is black as the devil, right? So I was freaking out. They gave me they gave me so many things. And I was crying and I was saying my goodbyes because I was seeing my own grave. And I was like, I'm dying. My dad wahamba and went to a healer and came back with a powdered concussion, which we call umpemis. And then one pemis, and I went, Hetia! And my neck snapped. And I was back in the right posture. I had no idea what it is, but I was exhausted and it felt like I have traveled many worlds. And I remember I passed out and I slept. The next day, my dad took me to Isangoma, and because I didn't believe in Isangoma, I just wasn't paying attention. I didn't even bother to ask what we were doing there. I just was like, okay, dad says we should go. And I think probably they told me I was gifted, but I wanted nothing because I felt like I am doing the devil's work. So I muted my ears and they gave me stuff to use and I threw them in the bin. That's my story. But can you imagine that nothing helped that day when I had a dlozi experience except umuti wamadlozi. Umpemiso, most of them bemisos, not all of them, as to age people with ingulo, ancestral calling symptoms. I hope you are feeling this life. I hope it is making sense. I hope somebody who's needing to hear this tonight can hear this, because that's the power of African rituals. I spoke about the power of performing the ritual of Imbelego and how that led to me really starting to take a note of African spirituality. I didn't go in and dive in, blindsided. For me, I'm the analytical one, and I'm still am, but I've experienced shifts in my life by being one with my African spiritual identity. My own life is a testimony enough that idlozi liyaphila. I don't need anyone to convince me of that. And that's why no matter what storms or challenges I experience, I still remain firm in that which I am. I always say I do not believe in ancestors. I know in them, because the belief is somebody trying to teach me and convince me. Belief is a taught thing. Knowing, it's a lived thing. So I have lived through experiences in life where nothing else was a solution except engaging myself in African rituals. Let's go to the next person. So I hope, Lee, I've answered you. Just because there's not a sangoma, it doesn't mean the gift never existed, because that's the mistake people make. Just because there's no one known to be, some people were, but they hid it under Postolo, Zayoni, ZCC. They were healers and gifted, but they could not proudly own it because they would be persecuted. Okay, Jay's asking, which rituals can I do so that I can start embracing my gift? I need my dreams and all the messages to be clear. I don't know what is having you be stuck with your gift. To give you a clear ritual that will activate things will be unprofessional of me as a sangoma, because I'm assuming I know what is the cause or the root cause of the problem. And you see, I see a lot of people telling people, let's use this and this. It is not for everyone, because everyone carries a special DNA with their ancestors. It's like your DNA is unique code. So there are unique codes in the spirit world, because I can easily give you things that I know they work, but these are generic, and we know with generic medication it doesn't work for every element, because the root cause of your migraine is not stress. It might be that it's an early sign of you indicating that you've got a brain tumor. See what I'm saying? You might be taking, but the headaches don't go away, because it is more serious than that. I'm using that analogy so you could understand that the same way you would not be asking a medical practitioner to prescribe something without making a formal diagnosis. So Jay, I'm giving you tips. Should they not work, Jay, please go consult and see what is it that is stuck, because it could be that your own family blocked the gift. They performed a ritual to close it off so that they don't have to take it and engage with it. But one of the things, and I was on SAFM this afternoon, and I said one of the things that people might need to do, basic things, and I keep on repeating them: change your diet. When you are consuming foods that are heavy on your digestive system, when you are waking up, your body is tired. And when your body is tired, it is difficult for you to recall your dreams, because it is the body that needs to recall them. The spirit had had an experience and an encounter, so you are not recalling. So change your diet. If you have to go on a vegetarian, even a vegan diet, that will help you because our body easily digests food like that. Avoid processed foods. Foods that are heavily processed, there is very little nutrients, so the body doesn't absorb it very well. It doesn't give you optimal nutrition. It actually depletes the healthy cells in your body. That's why we've got lifestyle diseases. Try and smudge your room with impep, or try and patch up before you go to bed. But if none of those are working, it means the issue and the problem is more serious than that. But I would really not like for people to start asking me about it. Is in connection with the ritual. Jay was asking, sorry, I don't know if Jay is a she or a he. That's why I like, our languages, because uh they don't have gender connotations to them. Togoza Koko, what is the purpose of Udli Kobongo, and does it need to be done at home or supervised? It means, Cats, you were here late because I spoke about Ikobongo earlier on because somebody asked me. And if you go on my YouTube channel and you look at Instagram Q&A, the description will tell you that video has where I speak about Ikobongo. So I would not love to again explain what Kobongo is. And I did explain earlier on here, Uguti, some people say it's done at home, but I do it supervised because I don't know what is gonna be activated. Because remember, Ikobongo, it's activating, it's enhancing, it's opening, it's making way. So once it does and you are unsupervised, it could be quite, it could be an endangerment. Because let's say udlama kobongo and uvugela amandlozi and you have no one to supervise and no one to help you, or uvugela ikobongo yawa. Because when your ancestral spirits come through, they you have a faint, or what some people will call it a seizure, which are trancing. It's going into like this, a trance state, and you don't go boo. It's rare, but you go and you start to become worried, and you try to do something and you injure yourself. But some people have done. My kobongo was not supervised, but I had ubabundlanza. I had umkulumkasha who's well equipped to work with amadlozi, even though he didn't twasa, but he grew up in a traditional Zulu family, because every time I went into a trance, he used to play me drums and sing. And we didn't have drums, so he would take a chair and use the chair as the drums and sing for me Ngahawugele Tom Ngalami, or any common song that we know, Ebungomeni, and would say Thokozani Bokoko na Bomkhulu. I don't remember if he would tell us Thokozani or Ramakos, but I knew that he could speak to them and they could communicate. So if I was all alone, I don't know what could have happened. Okay, we're asking questions about rituals now. People are asking me questions about what, so ritual. Gogo, is it wise to cleanse for a past miscarriage while you are pregnant? Some people say yes, so that the spirit of the child, because when you don't cleanse, they get trapped between, they can't transition, because when the body dies, the spirit needs to transition, and the body understand that it doesn't, the spirit to understand it has no body, it doesn't have a host anymore. So when there's no rituals performed, sometimes the spirit still seeks a host. Like batu umoya uomundu yazula, it hovers around and it's moving around. So when that happens, right, then when it comes and it's still feeling like it's in the mother's womb, it might affect the child that you're carrying. And that's why sometimes people find themselves having unexplainable series of miscarriages, and you think it's medical, but it's spiritual. So it is important, and it depends on what stage you are at, and it depends on the kind of cleansing that one needs to perform, because there are, cleansing processes that one performs at the early stages of pregnancy, and also it's also there's processes you perform while you're pregnant to make sure that your womb is safeguarded against early labor, because miscarriage is basically going on labor before your delivery time. Okay, I'm looking for a question. Okay, so there's a lot of questions. Somebody asked me about Femba. Please go on YouTube. I have responded to about what is Femba. Yeah, and I've said it's a very intense process. Yeah, I think from next month I start my Femba. There's already a waiting list for people who want to be Fembaed, but I also consult before I agree, because it's a very life threatening ritual to do Ifemba, not necessarily for the recipient, so the one who is being fembered, for more of the one who's doing the fembering. So Zikone is asking, does asking Lozi for more time to finish school, is it a ritual or a ceremony? Cha. Remember, ceremony is an event. So when we go a manzini, we and that act alone. But the ritual is we do a series of things, right? We do a series, because there would be things you will have to still do to help you be supported while you are gifted and finishing school. So it would be a ritual, but there would be ceremony or some ceremonies to be performed. So it is a ritual. Oh, so many questions. Okay. Togoza Koko, is there a ritual yokulanda amadlozi, and what are the consequences if you have not done that and utwasile? I saw that question, Robert. So ulanda idlozi njani when utwasile? So when you are independent from where you were brought up, so if utwasile and you've got your own house, but you are living at your parents' house. So you are not living at your parents' house, but angisho twase amadlozi asekaya again. Your family or your ancestors are part of the family lineage. So you'll have to go to uyolanda madlos. So like for me, I had to go nyolanda madlos, meaning nyonya tela mabala from my maternal and from my paternal side, to inform the ones who are now made themselves visible as the ones who are giving me the gift, to say Dineo has completed her process, and now that Dineo is a Goko X, so, or as Mkulu X, then we are asking, Mkulu G. So as Mkulu G, so sicela ukuthi amadlozi alayikhaya, because it's not only informing the one who gave you the gift, but it's also informing your whole lineage of ancestors, so they can come and gather and show up also and be part of you when you are now practicing, or when you have come home. So you are not leaving and excluding every others, just not, like, no, it's only me and Mkulu G. Is Mkulu G who's part of abantu bakabheki, who are part of abantu bakabanibani. So moyo nyathela mabala, uvusa bonke, u-informa bonke, uthola i-support ya bonke, yabona, it's all of them. Because also where you are going, most probably I went to Wandlands, so that they can know that I will be practicing emzini wabantu bakandlands, which is very important, because I had to kuthi ngamukele abantu bakwaNdlanzi. I think most probably one of the reasons, and I'll be honest, it is for a fact that, which was hard for me to move away, that the divorce couldn't happen when me and Kulu have separated. One of the things is that he gave me unlimited support. Before Ntwasa, he was very patient with me, because ngoba ngihamba nomkhulu, so I was extremely aggressive, so because that man needed to be yabo aligned with me, so the masculine energy that I had was extremely toxic. right? So ubekezelile, and he was supportive. He would wake up. When I wake up ngo-3 ngiyakhwebula. So there was, then I go emzini wakandlanzi, because angisho kuthiwa kukandlanzi, and then they welcome me, and I get there, and here I am prospering, and ngale ngudineo. And the minute I took the gift, he built my ndumba. Nkulu uye, he paid for the ndumba, he paid for the ceremony, and so many other things. So to my ancestors, he has given an undying support, because it is so difficult to find a man who supports their wife through this process, because they too go through initiation, and it's not for the faint-hearted. So do you understand Manjao saying ukokodinao? And that's what some people did say even to me, Gutao. Now so ukokodinao, you are known, you are leaving this man, you know? But that was not the reason, because we both agreed for the separation. But I'm saying, Uguti, that for me also created some sort of spiritual protection, because even when we came back, we remarried Edlozi. So ngithelwe ngenyongo twice. Emzini wakandlanzi, which is binding, and when ngibuya, which was binding, even though there were ancestors from my family who said, no, because he's done 1, 2, 3. Akahambe. Right? So, but I have learned to what kept us intact, because even in our separation, and those who have witnessed and experienced us knew that 80% of the time we worked very well together, irrespective we were not in a relationship. And both me and him, we had other partners, and our partners were there, but we still manage to keep ourselves intact, because we are human. Nobody wants to see their partner with somebody else, but we understood this was something much more bigger than us. And like I said, I'm grateful for those 3 years. But when I look back and I realized actually there were things done prior to prove, but to seal the relationship. I said on my earlier post this week, Uguti, I never stopped loving him, but my pain muted my love for him, because it needed to be healed. It needed to be healed. And you need to understand that love is not perfect. And love is without, it's not perfect. It has mistakes, and it's got faults, and it's got everything. When I spoke about those relationships, I don't know if it was early this year. It was early this year or late last year. And when I started to do the teachings on does Lozi choose your partner, and I would speak about seasonal relationship, lifetime, and a relationship for a reason, the more I spoke, it felt like I was reflecting on my relationship, Nomkulu. And I started to say, no, man, this relationship, it's a lifetime one. Yes, we took a seasonal 3-year break, but because of how when we broke up, we didn't stop loving each other. And I mean, part of the reasons we got dumped by our partners was because our love was just evident. We knew we couldn't be together, but our love never died. And it was evident according to how they've experienced it when they would witness our interaction. And a lot of people would see it. Yes, you can get those teachings on YouTube. That was a beautiful, because we did a three part on does Lozi choose your partner. It was really powerful. I came out of those teachings knowing that he's my partner, but I knew that if that's meant to be, I'll have to be patient, because at the time, my partner has already dumped me, but he was still in a relationship, and I needed to be, be patient. I was like, I'll wait. If this is what they want, I'll wait. And the waiting, I wasn't waiting for him. I waited while I did the work on me, because I needed to understand what was it in me that was decayed, that was ate away at the life of our relationship. And he did the same thing, or we still doing the same thing. We're not there yet. We're not there yet, because happiness doesn't mean perfection. Happiness comes with tears. We're not there yet. And when the tough gets going, it's so easy for us, or for one to want to go back to yeah, did I make the right decision? Did I, and I need to remind myself that I made it not because for my kids, I made it not because Lozi says, I made it because for me, he is who I need in a partner, in a relationship. And if that's what it is, it means I will have to put the work. And if that's who I am to him, he needs to put the work. Relationships are work. Same as relationships are with your ancestors. Same as when you commit to ritual. It is work. And we are a generation that doesn't want to put the work. We are so entitled. Often and like, no, but I did this in Twasilemus. I did what they asked me. Then why are the blessings not coming? It's continuous work. We're not doing dreams. People are not tribe members. When you come, look at the pin topic. It's not dreams here. Toza Koko, what are the effects of Upatla outside in the garden? Well, I don't know where your ancestors patla, like different ancestors patla. I mean, different ethnical groups patla at different places. But remember the important thing when you are patlaring is intention, because some people say, will my ancestors here being sefletini? Well, my ancestors, remember they were humans, ne? Ancestors lived. So you also talk to them at a level of physicality. So to say boko kona mumkulu. Isimo and the situation right now, ngisho with situation right now. I'm in the UK. I can't go eMhlanti Yonqula. I can't go eGanzelweni lasekhaya ngiyophahla. I can't go emsamo ngiyopahla. I can't go there because this is my circumstance. This is situation right now. So this is what I'm doing. So that's what I'm saying is that put the limitations as well up front. But I've seen Guti, sincerity and good intentions can manifest and make everything possible, because you can have the most beautiful msamo, but there's no sincerity in how you connect with your ancestors. There is no truthfulness. It's the aesthetics. It's about the aesthetics. It's about, I've got it right, because we focus so much on the aesthetics of doing things. We focus so much on the what people see and the material versus the essences of things. If you go and watch my stream on Upahla, you'll understand, because I can't say that is it wrong, is it the effects. Go listen to that teaching and you will know whether pathlaring in the garden is gonna work for you or not. Okay, I'm trying to get to, okay. Okay, dreams. Okay, Toza, what do you do, Ubangwa? What, I'm looking at the question upcoming. What is the ritual performed for Umdwana Ombete placenta of a 3-year-old who has a placenta? Well, ask Abagini. If no one does, you'll have to go see a Sangoma, because I'm not going to explain. That's a sacred ritual. I can't explain this. You do this and you do that. It's a sacred ritual, because then everybody will think, Uguti, I need, we all can just do that ritual, and that's not how it works. Okay. It's strange. Somebody sent me a message. Oh, I see who it was. I was like, who's that? Because I'm looking at the time, because I've timed that they sent me a message. Okay. Coco, how does one perform a cleansing for losing both parents? So, traditionally when we lose our parents, we go into mourning for, at least 3 months. Some people mourn for 6 months, some people for a year. Then afterwards, there'll have to be an animal that gets slaughtered and a cleansing ritual that gets performed. So I don't know what you guys do at home, and if you don't know how to do it, because remember, when a ritual is done, you can't cleanse you angisho sebumnyameni. So already sebumnyameni, and you need to be brought into light. So you can't be in the dark and want to bring yourself carrying the dark into the light. You need somebody who also cares. Same thing as when you're a sangoma and then ushonelo, I'll have to bring another sangoma to come cleanse me, even though I know the meetings, I know the process, but already I'm in the dark. So I'm the one who is here in mourning. So somebody who is not in mourning has to perform that ritual for me. You know what I mean? No, it was Umkulu James congratulating me. So we had our first date. Did you see the stories? I'll be posting pictures soon. So we today was our first day of, doing the divine feminine experience, and it's went extremely well. If you want to find out more about it, look at on my timeline, or look at the story now. After here, go and look at all my stories. I gave you sneak peeks of what happens. It was so beautiful. I wanted to sign up as well and pay for the divine feminine experience. It's about a 2 to 3 hour experience. Is just nurturing and taking, like giving to self, and being pampered, being cared for, being nurtured by us. So yeah, the WhatsApp is working. Yes, you are late, Trini, about Ken. Good evening. I know some people. Daphne is here. I know Daphne is coming, and she's already gotten her date. I think I'm seeing Daphne tomorrow. Um, yeah, yeah. I've got a schedule for the people I'm seeing tomorrow. So it's really nice. So it's a reading. It's a bath. It's a massage or a yoni steam, and you have an option for also getting a nice nutritious lunch at the same time. So yeah, let's go to a few more. Tohoza Koko, can we please have a session of single parents and Shalbon out of Wallock? Yes. If you go on my YouTube channel, there is where I speak about paternal, the absence of the paternal side and what one can do. Because certain things that the teachings, I'm moving them. We are rebranding, which we will launch very soon. And the rebrand is going to come with a calendar of events where you can start to sign up for events. One of the ones was a suggestion, and Sister Queen, you are here at Dumi, when said, Coco, can we have a ladies' lunch or dinner? So that's one of the ones when the minute we rebrand. And also that 10K, 100K lunch followers, that's gonna be it. So the calendar will give you events so you can sign up for them in advance. And one of the things that we're launching is the master classes. So certain things I won't teach about them anymore. They will have to be part of a master class that you'll have to sign for, and it will be a paid membership, of course. So yeah, so we have a very exciting, I'm not gonna say much, we'll speak about it as soon as the closer. You're gonna love this. It's also gonna be very easy for us because we're going to be having a booking system online, so you can go into my calendar and see, like, I want to see Coco June the 14th, book for that, make payment, you get your booking, and you see Coco. So we're moving with the digital times. We're becoming innovative, and we're solidifying the brand Coco Dinawandlands. So that's what we're going. Yes, episode they've given you there. Yes, it's that's what it is. Yes, you are missing out. Askis. And we are also hiring. So, but I will announce that later on, not now. My team is still, we're still seeing if they were not wanting me to announce publicly or post the vacancy, because then you got thousands of people applying who are not qualified for certain things, and it becomes a problem, because you see, we need somebody who will work, not somebody who will be a fan. So that's also the other thing. So yeah, that's it for tonight. Tomorrow, Dumisang is here. We're going to be doing part 2 of childhood traumas. make sure you tune in at 9. We do it 9 because she's in Canada and it's a workable time, 9 p.m. tomorrow. If I don't know if people have voted to Misang yet, whether we're doing that or narcissism, because we still on the brink. We still are on a series of healing deep, painful, toxic, traumatic experiences or relationships. So we already started with childhood parenting, healing from toxic parenting. So we're gonna move into a series. If not, it was on a story, vote, and do what you gotta do. But that's it for me tonight. I will see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Remember with the teachings, or is it 54% childhood abuse? Okay, so we're doing childhood abuse again. It was incredible. If you missed the one, please go on my IGTV. You'll see last week's one. It might be helpful so that you are on the same page with us tomorrow, because we're continuing on that teaching. Yeah, it's been brilliant. I'm only coming live twice a week. The intention is some Tuesdays, not every Tuesdays, and then every Thursday night. And Thursdays it will be either the Q&As, or it will be bringing a guest with topics of interest. But certain topics I'm not gonna revisit anymore, because that's gonna be content for people, content that if people wanna consume, they'll have to pay for it. Thokozani Bokoko. Good night.